Okay, so insurance, and what are the particular challenges that insurance has? So generally, for most insurance companies, they talk to the majority of their customers once a year at renewal time. Um, so a particular disadvantage which leads to very difficult to obtain information on the customer lifestyle or needs. And it's hard really to have a relationship with that customer and build up customer engagement and loyalty. Um, a second thing is that any additional discussions throughout the year are probably likely to be in relation to a claim. So, of course, that results from a particularly negative event for that customer, and now they are in a troubling circumstance. So, potentially not in the best frame of mind to be talking to at the moment. So, we can turn that into an opportunity. So turn it into a positive experience so you can have a better dialogue with the customer. But it is also an opportunity to capture more data about the customer. So what do we do next? Now, how can we use the data that we already have now? So if we look at, say, what we might be holding on a customer, we might have their, we might know, okay, the names. So in particular, we might have this family. We might know that it's Damien Green and his wife, Jackie Green. We might have information that they're of their ages 36 to 45, and we might know that they have two children aged 5 to 10. So that might all be contained in the information that we've captured about them. Also, we are more likely certainly to have good product holding information. So this family are generally very good customers of ours. We can see they have a house in Balmain for which they have a premium covering the buildings. And they also are covering their contents. So that means they are, of course, probably living in this house, and they've had a claim in the last 2 years of $10,500. They're also insuring an apartment in Redfern, which is another suburb of Sydney. So we see, okay, they own that apartment, but they're not insuring any contents, so probably an investment apartment for them. Also, we can see they have two vehicles, a newer, larger Toyota Land Cruiser, which is kind of a standard family vehicle here in Sydney, and also a smaller Ford Fiesta, so an older vehicle, perhaps the second car in the family. So also looking at superannuation, we see that Damien has a superannuation with us also. So, okay, so a pretty comprehensive insurance portfolio with us. But looking at seeing how can we, enrich this and really try and understand this family. So we can perhaps now do our segmentation around this and understand that they're in a young family segment. We can review the application forms that were filled in. Can we determine their occupations from there, or there is an opportunity to go to social media to pick up those pieces of information. On the children, we might be able to have at some point in time knowledge of when those children were born or what their date of births were. So good to start tracking their ages now in terms of looking for opportunities when they do start to become independent and start driving vehicles. So let's start that happening now. Also, from the products that they're holding, we can determine, okay, they are holding assets of a house in Balmain, and we can determine an approximate value of that from house price data that's generally available, and it's out there on the web for free. Also, apartment in Redfern, we can determine an approximation of how much that's worth. Also, we know how much the vehicles are worth. So starting to do also on the right hand side, we can obtain generally available information as to the area demographics. So that's going to give us some attributes that will give us some approximate values and some ideas of what this family lifestyle is going to be like. Also in the middle, okay, now we can start some modeling and basically make some inferences from the data that we have. So we certainly from Damien's superannuation, we can know what his salary is. From Jackie's job description, we can make an approximation as to what her salary would be. We can also say, okay, well, investment income, how much would be gained from renting out that Redfern apartment? So around $1,500 would be a good approximation. So now from that we can build up a good idea of where the family's monthly spend is going. So if we're lucky enough to have a banking arm with our insurance company, then okay, that's all readily available within transactions. But we can have a good idea just from the general information that we already have on products held, and also from data that's available out there on finances and also the demographic data. So here in the middle, we can see there is a good profile of monthly spend, also how much they are spending monthly on their investment home loan. So from that and from the salary, we can determine discretionary income. So now we've got an idea as to how wealthy this family might be. So another piece of information for wealth product opportunities out there. So life stage, we can say, oh, well, we might put them in the building wealth life stage. At-risk score, so on retention modeling, we can determine, okay, this is a very valuable customer, so with an at-risk score of 7.5 out of 10, probably quite high risk of losing them. Risk appetite, so perhaps from some surveys and so on, we might have determined that in terms of their focus on looking at wealth products, that there might be a high risk appetite. Also future value. So from the products that they have already and those potentially to have in the future, they have a fairly high future value, say in the next 5 years, of about $26,000. So we've done quite a lot in terms of making the most of our data there, and we can now say, oh, where can we determine opportunities in the future? So product opportunities, we can see what's missing from the products held. So we can see there's no life insurance held, no income protection, and Jackie has no superannuation with us as well. So let's say, so now we have recorded those opportunities. Let's see when we can actually talk to those customers about them. So one way is to look at web behavior by looking at our weblog or looking at our real-time web monitoring. We can see that the family logged on, or Damien logged on and browsed life insurance a day ago, and he also at the same time got an insurance quote for a Redfern apartment. We've got information on offer history, what was offered and what was taken up as well, to give us information on what their preferences might be as to rewards. So so now we can build those up into, well, life insurance was browsed, plus there is no life insurance product held. So there is a potential for a multi-product discount as well, considering their product holdings. So can we combine that all into a nice offering for the family, life insurance with the current superannuation product held? So so we've considered all the best way to offer this customer this product as well. So at the bottom, we can look at, okay, the house insurance quote for the Redfern apartment was done yesterday. So they're already insuring their Redfern apartment, and renewal is due in 6 weeks. So of course we're now saying, okay, risk of them going elsewhere. They're obviously comparing us to other companies. So can we give them a special reward for renewing their policy early? So they seem to like movie vouchers. So maybe we offer some of those, or can we determine what their preferences are that they might be interested in? So let's be proactive around understanding the profile and delivering personalized offers to them. Other triggers, as we said, okay, most of the time we're only talking to our customers one time in the year. So where can we provide a better service to them and talk to that customer as well? So first, some ideas are a reminder to book the car in for service and pink slip. So pink slip is required here for cars more than 5 years old to determine their roadworthiness. So if we can say 6 weeks before renewal due, let's send out that reminder, because I always find it hard to remember to get my car booked in, and then get them ready for renewal time, and also follow up potentially with an offer for early renewal. Also, house insurance, if we know when a customer's birthday is, can we be a bit cheeky perhaps and say, remind them to increase their insurance for that lovely new pair of diamond earrings they got for their birthday, or the Maserati. So just an opportunity to talk to them again and remind them of the value of your house insurance that you are offering. Also rewards, as I said, need to be personalized. Can you look for perhaps new restaurants which are highly rated near their location? Also, perhaps a voucher for a nearby car wash. So you're also looking after that vehicle that they're insuring, or if they don't have a vehicle insured with you, it's perhaps a good way to test whether they do have a vehicle if they uptake that offer. So and then follow up with a car insurance offer. Also, if you do have a high value customer who has their car in for repair at the moment, can you offer them a very much reduced rental car or car share scheme voucher, and perhaps look at companies who do insure all their vehicles through you and make them a partner company as well. So as you can see, this is all very business related. You need to get the business involved and get them brainstorming as to what's possible, and also educate them as to what is possible with the data. So I think getting everyone in the room, marketing plus business plus data analysts, get them all talking to each other, and get some interesting conversations going. Okay, so now we've looked at what's possible with current data that you're holding. Let's look at some real life use cases in perhaps using some more unusual forms of data, and for example, the big data that everyone's been talking about. So first of all, IDC have done a study, so in July 2014 and also February 2015, they went out to major organizations and they asked them, what are the key big data use cases that currently exist or will exist very soon, or that you're planning in the next 12 to 24 months. So in finance, which is in red, first of all, we can focus on looking first at risk exposure assessment. So this is high on the profile, so currently being performed around 70%, but also around 35% are considering for next year. Also, personalized offers, so this is heavily also being done now, and in a small amount being considered for next year. But also other relevant areas are in public sector, so dark blue, they are looking at fraudulent activity detection and response, so now and to an extent in the future, but also looking at process improvement. So that's something 30% doing now, but it's high on the list for doing in the next year. Also ones that are relevant from utilities, that's in yellow, so customer behavior and interaction analysis, that is certainly being done a lot now and being considered for next year. But also something very high on the list for next year is call center optimization. So that is, we'll talk about a certain case there, making the most of your agents for delivering leads. Also, telco, perhaps they are best known for customer acquisition at the moment, but they are getting more focused on customer retention in the future, and also price optimization. Perhaps they are looking at more particularly personalized pricing to customers. Okay, so all very interesting. Now let's look at data that you may have, but you may not be using. So as we initially talked about, customer web and app interaction behavior. So certainly on the web, we want to understand customers' needs. What are they coming and looking for on the web, and what quotes are they doing? What products are they looking for? Then customer emails, that will give us a bit of information, perhaps more than we're actually using to process the customer need at the moment, but we should structure that data perhaps and store that away for future information. Can we understand that the customer has particular needs in the future, or what happened at the moment? Perhaps they are moving house, or let's record that for future information. Now, call center transcripts and audio recordings. So a customer calling about a particular event or need, there is perhaps more information that we can capture around customer lifestyle that might just happen in the course of the conversation, or that we can prompt call center staff to ask for. So can we figure out whether the customer has is planning to buy new vehicles, is planning to move, or that they are planning to go on holiday. So all opportunities for offering new insurance products, but also opportunities for servicing them better as well. We're looking for things like that. HR data, that's in, we can understand perhaps which of your staff are better at servicing different types of customers. Machine logs, so perhaps servers that are out there, so we can detect that from particular machines that have the likelihood of failing soon. Video and images, so branch videos, traffic snapshots. Can we use that to help better service our customers, understand big queues in the branch, or understand where there is a lot of traffic, and help our customers there. Also, publicly available data that's out there, social media, product review sites. That's how are you doing, and how are your competitors doing on those review sites. Also, newspaper articles and blogs, what are they talking about? Is it positive or negative about your organization? There's also weather data that we can combine with our customer data, census data to help us understand our customers better, um, population financial data. So certainly in Australia we have some CEFA data, which allows us to understand by location where customers are perhaps better off or worse off. Also house price data that can be purchased or Domain, now a website in Australia, they even have house price prediction data for each individual property out there. So I think that's a good source of information. Okay, so very valuable out there. So let's look at some case studies in using that data. So for example, real-time web mining, we can look at customers coming to our websites, looking at products. We can understand, okay, if that product is currently held, so for example, they might be going to our travel insurance, are they considering stopping that insurance, or do they actually need to use that insurance? So perhaps if it's long-term travel insurance, perhaps they're determining whether they need to increase that to go on their trip, or are they about to claim on that particular product? So if they're viewing a product not currently held, okay, are they now comparing with their competitors? Can we persuade them to buy? Of course, so now when they've started completing forms and abandoning, this is an opportunity website. sure we can do is understand research. Um, the the products they're looking for. Doing on their buying journey. So in some foreign customers into 4 groups. So could go out and totally research those who are avoiders, who don't really about product need a lot of help. Sure that they are properly interesting there. And we also, in terms of privacy around doing this, you do need to ensure that you do have your privacy policy on the website, and stating what you're going to do with the data that you capture, and that certainly in Australia we need a little caption saying that cookies are being used, and the customer needs to be aware of that before proceeding. Okay, so then looking also at the web, what web data is out there that we can screen scrape perhaps and there is house data and car sales and that we can other ideas are need data that's out there, or there one that might help us understand. Or large corporate customers. We can understand also and also determining, okay, if we're losing customers, perhaps we're losing them to those competitors. So what level of rate change is making the customer move? then can we link those with increases in customer payments and transactions to competitors? So are they, if we've got a bank as part of our organisation, can we see home loan payments going elsewhere? Reviews from social media, so can we, looking at the opinions of customers and how they're ranking us on their product review sites, how are they comparing us to competitors? Also, in terms of security and fraud, let's find people who are mentioned in relation to known terrorist groups, and also can we find cases of hacking into large companies where identity and password data has been stolen, and let that customers to alert them to changing their passwords. Provides information to companies on their competitors' website. Also, home insurance, we can look at whether hail or heavy rain that's approaching their home address. Also, and also the determined by seeing that they have got onto the app. Also, shipping, location detection, and allow us to price to alert them on approaching them. Now, so I suppose on vehicles, so customers are not really taking that is of interest and can that we certainly have helped customers with from all online commentary. What so we've actually assessing a understanding the offers and through the buying evangelism. What we do here is something that is related to an and we place it at the relevant for sentiment. Is it a positive? We compared and uh, customer journey. We're seeing here that ANZ are performing very well across all. What are the factors in terms of ANZ? They have a very good emotions, and engaging campaign. Are not doing so well outdated internet app and also a non-professional call center. So customers are thinking, but also allows them to take action. Customer factors, key factors this is also in 2014. We compared the four banks in terms of the customer satisfaction. Can see certainly there was at the meanwhile ANZ and West in the same time frame. So some metrics out there. So now other data that's I find out more about the customer and large, customer events. Baby or moving a house or lost a job. We want things that we can take we can understand retiring in 3 years. Super and have it set up so that there's not also going on holiday perhaps the really going up. And they're perhaps first-time buyers trying to an important to extract data and structure that data so we can record that against the customer record. Call center transcripts, and we have the audio recording. And recordings and fluctuations in so if we can then that the customer determine certain fluctuations are positive, meaning that in the call. So from this we can build predictive so all results, or did they close them all down? Did they also perhaps put in a complaint afterwards? So let's follow this up and track it through. So if we can really use all this information, we can now really determine how our staff are performing. So are our staff performing well as a result? Can we also capture these customer metrics, put them on the data warehouse, and also compare complaints against what happened in the call center? So all good results there, and also potentially an opportunity for us to customer satisfaction, we can reduce the number of surveys that we're doing. Predictive models. So determining is basically determining is that we feed leads into the funnel. We have a predictive model, which is in the past. So be allocated to a particular sales agent. to capture agent feedback. So was it a so for outbound calls, but so if you don't have to respond to that call immediately and you have the ability to then this is highly applicable. With Telstra here in Australia, implementing this automation of leads process and smart feedback first of all. Where it was very and through to a 77% there. So taking the historic data that they had increase in sales from day one. For Aviva, so this was in Singapore. $22 months. So continually, the model is so on average over these 22 months. Increase in strike rate, so that's increase in sales. Increase in sales. So that's a great result there. Leading to a agents much less time from agents. Less in also
Yeah. I hope you can hear me, Laura.
IAG.
Good. So we won't have time for a couple of them here. So the first one, question goes like, what about privacy and what can we actually do with the data without being too nosy, I guess, towards the clients? You talked about car renewals and discovering birthdays and so on. How close can we go?
Had built up so much that water had to be released. So that led to large amounts of flooding. So what IAG were able to do was determine which customers were going to be affected, contact them immediately so they could take preventative action, and also then determine who should be focused on to make sure that their claims are processed quickly. So a great result there. Also in assessing insurance risk, so this was in Queensland, preparing for Cyclone Yasi. So this was a large cyclone which came up, impacted their customers there, so large amounts of flooding again experienced. So definitely helps customers, and making sure that the insurance assessors on the ground can go immediately to the customers most in need. So this actually won our BI and Excellence Award a few years ago. Also looking at predicting internal risk for decision making. So here is an example of a large fleet company in the States. So what they did was they were experiencing a large number of accidents. So what they did was they looked at their HR data, they looked at also the driving KPIs that they were obtaining from their trucks, and they then made a prediction as to who was most likely, what were the most likely factors to cause.
Yeah, we got one more question here, Laura. It's about the low-hanging fruits in terms of getting started using customer data more intelligently. It says here, you know, such as fraud, upsell, cross-sell, retention, predict customer potential value, and so on. So what, in your experience, are the most low-hanging fruits?
Number of miles when empty and had not had a holiday for a long time. So they addressed all these things by making sure holidays were being taken, that they limited changing the length of haul to different drivers, that they made sure they kept the drivers busy so they weren't sitting around or driving empty, and also gave them training in braking. So this led to large benefits of course, first of all, the reduction in frequency of accidents, but had a huge 81% reduction in severity of accidents. And then there was the side benefits of a 17% reduction in driver turnover and a 24% increase in productivity. So it's those kind of intangible benefits that can't be predicted that are very valuable as well. So as I mentioned, insurance had perhaps been looking forward to telematics, but there is quite a low take-up at the moment of customers in that, and certainly there are a lot of benefits in looking at driving behavior and times of driving and locations of the vehicle. So yeah, maybe time will tell. Maybe we can get customers to uptake telematics for changes in prices and premium. Also, looking back, going back to recording customer conversations by using the tone that is being used in customer conversations, perhaps around claims, we can